Adventure Pod 3. This is Adventure Co Gaming. We got special guests here with us tonight. We got Tolarian Dropouts in the house. Let's go. All right, so we have Ryan. Ryan, what you got going on today?
Oh, I'm just as excited as you guys are for the new reveal that we just got. Definitely looks like we're adding a few more dimensions to the game that we weren't expecting, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what exactly we got with this new hero.
We got Rob with Tolarian Dropouts. How you doing, Rob?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, just chilling here. Excited to be on the podcast. Thanks so much for having me. Just been taking a look over these spoilers, man. Just some pretty crazy cards, you know.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to discuss them.
Let's go. We got bangers for you tonight. Let's go. Steven, what you got going on?
Pretty much the same as everybody else. We've been waiting pretty much all day for a spoiler to drop, and so I definitely feel like it was worth the wait. So I'm really pumped to talk about it with you guys.
Yep. And we got Nick, who's probably one of the most excited here tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm also just really high on the set in general. I think it's so different than I expected. I didn't think of really anything they've come out with so far would happen, so I'm just really excited for the possibilities that are kind of available now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming out, guys, and thanks to Larry and Dropouts for joining the crew today.
Yeah,
All right, so we're gonna
absolutely.
hop right into it. We just got this hero spoiled, thanks to Rudy and Alpha Investments. I'm gonna read it off real quick, but I'm super excited for it. Let's go. All right, we got Prism, Sculptor of Arclight. She is a light illusionist hero with 4 intellect, 40 health, and an ability that reads: once per turn instant, pay 2, banish a card from Prism's Soul, create a Spectral Shield token. It's an Illusionist aura with, if your hero would be dealt damage, instead destroy Spectral Shield and prevent 1 damage that source would deal. Let's go. Let's
Yeah, that's
go.
pretty sick.
First of all, called it.
Yes.
Light Illusionist, let's go.
Yeah, you did.
I'm so excited for this. First of all, I think the art of this hero is, in my opinion, the best art we've gotten so far for a hero. I think that's my opinion, but I think maybe a lot of people would agree. I think it is so good looking, and just also the fact that it's a new hero to the game, which I mean we haven't had in so long up to this point. It's just exciting. I mean, even though it's just one new hero or a new class, I guess, I think it's so exciting to see what that feels like, because like it's just been all the 8 classes so far trying to like adjust them to play differently up to this point. So now it's like whole new hero enters along with light and shadow, which are just a lot of new stuff. So I'm so excited about this card and to see like her weapon and all of her, specific cards.
I will say, the artwork is just like Nick said. It's beautiful. This card is amazing. It's gonna look amazing in rainbow and cold foil. Like it's just gonna look stunning, absolutely stunning.
I can't wait to see it in cold foil.
Oh my
yeah.
god, it's gonna look so good. It really gives me like singing Steelblade vibes.
Yeah.
With like
Yeah.
everything just kind of like flying around her. Like the card itself is just so cool, and the hero ability is really interesting because it really deals with that soul mechanic that we've seen with the light talent at this point. But I'm interested to see what her equipment is like and her weapon, because at this point in time it's interesting, but it doesn't feel as impactful as I feel like it should be. But I'm sure we'll get a lot more information about her
Yeah.
after all. We literally just got the hero spoiled probably
Yeah.
about like 20 minutes ago. So.
Yeah, it's fresh. We have
Yeah.
no illusionist cards yet, other than the hero and the token.
Exactly.
Yeah,
sort
we
of-
just need more context for it. And I mean, what's it called? I definitely agree with Nick. The best looking hero artwork we've had so far. Like it just looks immaculate the way everything's just. How should I put this? Just everything is leading to this. Like everything around her fits her character to what we should expect from the cards we're gonna have revealed soon. But then it also just has a nice focus on her herself in like her elements. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask Steven, one of the things we were kind of like joking about was that it could have been a light guardian once we kind of like stayed away from the wizard. Are you more or less excited for this character knowing it's not a guardian now?
I'm excited. I think that this will bring a whole different level to flesh and blood that we haven't seen. And quite honestly, that's what this entire set has really done. Is it's introduced so many interesting ways to play the game that we've kind of thought about in the past, but it's executed them, I feel like, very well. So, am I sad that it is not a Light Guardian? Yes, absolutely. I am devastated. However, I am very excited to see the new heroes. I'm very excited to see how they play, and I'm also excited to see kind of how they change up the meta. You know, we've been playing with the same 8 heroes for a while, and these talents and the way that these characters interact with each other and the old champions, like the old
Yeah.
heroes, will be really interesting to see how that affects the game. So I am very sad, but I am also very excited.
That
I
just
mean,
opens the door for
I agree with you
oh,
to an
yeah.
extent. There was what's it called? Back when we didn't have like any clues or just like light clues, and we were kind of guessing like which one of the other classes was getting the quote unquote light treatment before we got, you know, this drop or bomb drop that it's an entirely new class. I was kind of hoping for Wizard or Ranger, but I feel like it's nicer to have something entirely new because now we have a lot more to play with this new character and the new possibilities of this whole archetype.
Yeah, and Steven, you can hold out hope for like a Mech Guardian or something
Mech
else.
Guardian.
Right? Yeah,
There it
I'm
is.
holding out for Kingdoms. So
Right.
Yeah. I think Rob gets a little credit here too because he's been claiming Light Wizard the whole time, and I think this is as close you can get to Light Wizard without actually being
close.
Light Wizard.
Yeah, I think it's close. I mean, it's not it's not Wizard, but I definitely am excited to see a new class in the game, and what kind of mechanics that brings, what cards are going to come about, what this weapon's going to be.
Mhm.
I know you guys have like talked about a little speculation. Maybe is she gonna like turn some stuff into weapons, or how many of these prism tokens? What are they? Spectral shield tokens can you make?
Spectral
Can you-
Shield.
if your opponent is just trying to banish cards and is dying to blood dead every turn, and not doing much, just trying to line up like a big turn, can you just get like a bunch of these tokens built up? I don't know. So
Yeah,
be exciting for sure.
one thing I think it's really cool about her, she gives me some Kano vibes, because
A little bit.
no other hero can do abilities on opponent's turn other than Kano currently. So this is another hero now that can do that. Like, it might be impactful to where you're just like, instant speed, pay 2, create a spectral shield token, then I can do something with that thing other than just block 1 damage maybe. So there's that interaction, right? Like, there's more things to do on the opponent's turn. And I do think she's going to be able to do stuff with permanence in the battlefield, which would include her spectral shields, which I guess we'll see what happens with her. But yeah, I just like interaction on the opponent's turn. I think that's super cool. The ability to do things at instant speed with the hero. And like when we first got Kano, I think it probably was very much so like that's super expensive. You have to pay 3 to look at the top card of your deck and then play it. So I think this is very similar. Like, it doesn't seem super strong at surface level. Like, I get to pay 2 to basically block 1 damage. I think there's definitely going to be like some more to it that makes it like impactful to the game state.
I think you bring up a good point. It kind of makes me think like she's kind of a cloth wearer, right? And maybe that like instant speed ability is like a talent, so to speak, of like cloth wearers, of like do something expensive at instant speed. Like, but also she doesn't have 30 health, so it's already a huge buff over Kano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's really interesting too. Like, kind of like Nick said, it seems so expensive right now. Like 2 for like 1. It's like, why wouldn't you just block with it? But like, I'm almost positive that her equipment is just gonna come into play here.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's just she has to have something that interacts with that. Because 2 is a weird number for a pitch value, right? Like, any time that
Awkward.
costs are involved with like hero abilities, like Flesh and LSS has done a really good job of like incorporating that into the overall pitch economy for a hero in general, and also just how abilities play with each other. Best example that I can think of personally is Bravo, right? Like, if you're playing Bravo without a tectonic plating, everything always seems kind of weird because you're always left with this one resource for some reason that you can't figure out what to do with. But like, once you get a tectonic plating, everything kind of makes sense because you're like, oh, okay, like I'm supposed to have this, so I can do this extra thing. And I think we're gonna see something very similar with Prism, to where that one floating resource, because like I said, 2 is a weird number, So that one floating race is probably going to be utilized in one way or another. So whether it's making more spectral shield tokens, which might be like super interesting, or just utilizing it maybe, I don't know, in like an illusion. Maybe you hate yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, and we were talking about her before too. It's like it almost seems like a reverse rune chant token, right? A rune chant, you have to break it when you attack, and it does a damage. This is like you have to break it when you receive damage, and it stops one damage. So I like that it's a mixture between like a wizard mechanic we've seen and a rune blade mechanic we've seen. So it's like I love that they are just taking things like just how they build this game. It just seems so intelligent and unique, and I think it's so exciting to see what this class is going to do.
It seems to state how like sorcerers or magic related things in general kind of interact in the game compared to more physical or solid state items like weapons or physical attacks.
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder.
Absolutely.
I wonder. That's the thing. I wonder if she's gonna deal a mixture of damage, kind of like a Rune Blade does. Like obviously we've seen no cards right now.
Yeah.
We've seen one card that kind of interacts with her. That we kind of speculated on early on, which was Glisten, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's interesting because that one buffs attack, but I'd be interested to see like what kind of damage she actually deals and like what her like personal win condition is as a hero.
Right.
So
Like kind of like what her toys are in terms of like what goes on here. Like there's no way it's just like a wizard in terms of like arcane damage, but like something that like more like works with these tokens in some cool way and manipulates them just like an illusionist would, right? Not just straightforward damage in some way.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think it was another light card specifically that was generic that kind of tipped us off that there might be like someone who makes weapons as an illusion or something that's not necessarily a permanent. I can't remember which card that was, but I mean, it looks like now with everything that's on her artwork and everything, that's exactly what we're getting now.
yeah, that was the Glisten card that I was just talking about.
It was Glisten? Okay.
Yeah. Can you? Do you have that one, AJ?
Let's talk about Glisten. All right, so Glisten, it is a rare, so it should cycle. The red version, so it costs 2. It's a light instant, and it says distribute up to 4 +1 counters, +1 attack counters among any number of weapons you control. At the beginning of your end phase, remove all +1 counters from weapons you control. If a permanent is no longer a weapon during your end phase, +1 counters on it are not removed.
That's interesting.
So this is my favorite card in the set currently. I love this card so much. As soon as I read it, that clarification text, I was like, oh, okay, like Illusionist, right? Like, like that clarification text makes no sense unless there's some hero that like turns things into weapons. So I think that will be like her thing. She has like these aura tokens, some sort of other items. Like there's that item they revealed that kind of is pretty bad.
The dowsing thing.
The dowsing talisman or whatever that's called. Yeah. It's a yellow 0 cost that you play and it's spell void 1 and it has go again. So I think she probably plays that card. So it's another thing to turn into a weapon somehow.
Yeah.
But this card, it doesn't block for anything. It is an instant. So like there is that, which is a bummer. The first thing it reminded me of because of like the implications for Warrior is Biting Blade, because Biting Blade costs 2. It basically gives +4 right now and then +1 in the future. Yeah. But this is just +4 the whole turn, distributed how you want to, which is crazy. And then the fact that they don't get removed at the end of the turn if you've done it on things that are no longer weapons is kind of nuts, because like you do this one turn, next turn you turn them into weapons again, you just do this again, they just have all of these counters on them.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think this card is nuts. I think this card is so good.
So good.
I love the art on it too. Yeah, this card's amazing.
And it's a rare too, so it's got the full cycle you can use if you want to, I think the cycle is like you put up to 4 counters, 3 counters, or 2 counters respectively. So I mean, like even a yellow, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Especially if you could cycle it the way we were just talking about. Like it returns to being a non-weapon, but then it's like it keeps the counters for when you turn it into a weapon. That's absolutely bonkers.
So good.
What do you think is gonna get turned into weapons here? Do you think it's gonna be like equipment or like rune chant tokens or just target anything? You know what I mean? It could.
I think it's those shield auras. I think if they stay on the field or when you can create one either at the end of your opponent's turn and one on your turn, those are the things that get turned into weapons.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's anything, because it does say if permanent is no longer a weapon, so I'm hoping there are more implications than just her shield tokens. It could just be those shield tokens. which is still probably pretty good. But I'm hoping you can turn like items, like even Rusted Relic might become like a playable card now if you can turn that somehow.
Oh
into
my
a
god,
weapon.
could you imagine?
Can you
Have you
imagine
played
all the
that in the
rusted
deck?
relics we've tossed in the trash?
Um,
Suddenly being
Rusted
worth
Relic
something.
buyout when?
Or like it'd be so cool if she could do it on potions, right? Like you play an energy potion that turns it into a weapon at some point, and then you can pop it at some point too.
Oh, actually,
yeah.
actually, the potions would be an interesting, what's it called? Interactable item with that.
I could turn my crazy brew into something stupid.
Yeah, or what if
Something useful, yes.
what if you know, you're playing against Dash and you can target you know, target item becomes a weapon or whatever.
Oh my
You know,
god.
you just take the induction chambers, turn them into weapons.
Start smacking them with them.
Yeah,
That'd be
kind of cool.
awesome.
They, you know,
Oh, that would be insane, actually. Like using your opponent's items against them for a turn. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, because like as like a flavor text kind of thing, you're making them think it's something else. So it's like it's really interesting, and I think also the interesting thing with Glisten too is that it's an instant. So
Yeah.
like it kind of plays into that like instant speed thing that we were talking about earlier with like Clothwares, how it like this kind of stuff. Especially I love it with like the Illusionist. It's like you're never really safe. It's one of those things where you could be playing and then all of a sudden she can like whip out all these instants, and the next thing you know you're facing something completely different, and just the imagery of that with her as a class as an Illusionist is so cool. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's awesome.
There's an article up for her right now, and like one of the things that like, describes the hero, it says, sculpt fantastical arc-like spectras that confuse, confound, and combat bewildered opponents. So I think there is going to be that mechanic of like,
Yeah.
oh, you thought you were coming against this, but actually I'm going to do instant speed this stuff. So now how are you going to respond to this stuff now that I've done?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I had this idea for a card for her too, which would be like choose a card out of your opponent's graveyard, like an attack, and use it as this, like copy that attack. Like, oh my god,
Ooh.
insane.
that'd be cool. Or
Which
even
I
a card
think
out of Banish.
Yeah, which I think like fits, right? Like the whole like illusionist thing, like it's like, oh, it's not
Oh
really
my
that
God.
attack, but it's like copying it and like
yeah.
Right.
Oh,
That'd be interesting.
that's so cool.
Depends on the attack, of course, because certain attacks have specific interactions that make them strong, of course, but even generic attacks being able to copy at possibly a lower cost, that's pretty insane.
Yeah. Speaking of Glisten, to step away from Prism, even though she's amazing,
Yeah.
the implications for Glisten in Warrior as well, I think, are actually pretty nuts too. Something like Bolton's weapon, which we're going to get into, or even if you're playing Dawnblade, like this giving Dawnblade +4 for the entire turn is crazy. Like you
Yeah.
can't play this in Dorinthia, she's not a light hero, but like you can play Dawnblade with Bolton or any warriors that come in the future. Like 2 for +4. If you attack twice, that is 8 damage you've paid 2 to get for that turn. Plus you are then banking on the counter system on Dawnblade. So the value of this card to me is absolutely nuts. I think this card is so good.
Yeah, so let's talk about Warrior. So actually, we haven't talked about Warrior on the podcast yet. So I'm gonna break down Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn, the other hero we got earlier this week. So he is Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn, 4 intellect, 40 health hero, pretty standard. Light warrior hero. His ability is if you charge this turn, attacks you control have +1 attack, while defended by an attack action card. Attack reaction: banish a card from Sir Bolton's soul. Target attack with attack greater than its base attack gains go again. Strong, strong.
Yeah, it's
Very.
nuts.
Rob, do you think Resident Warrior player?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sir Bolton's gonna be a great hero. I mean, he's getting a lot of warrior attack action or light warrior attack actions, which is pretty solid. Something like you haven't seen before in Warrior. Warrior's never had like a warrior attack action. So I think that's really cool, and it's basically, it has the ability to potentially give it go again. One of those attack actions go again. Give something like Command and Conquer
Oh.
go again. Basically, like you swing your weapon, right? It's got go again somehow, and then you play something like Red Hit and Run. which gives your next weapon or your next attack, a +3 if you've swung with a weapon this turn. And you play something like ridiculous, like Nick Murphy's favorite Pursuit of Knowledge.
Pursuit of Knowledge special.
For 7, and then guess what? I'm just gonna attack reaction and give it go again because it has higher attack power than its base. So I think the potential for this hero is definitely going to put Dory on the back burner, personally.
Yeah, I don't know if he replaces her, but he is definitely super strong. One thing to note is his attack reaction effect not once per turn. So
not at all.
Let's just keep give and go again, right? My
As long
turn's
as
not
he
ending.
has the soul to do it.
Yeah, exactly. My turn's not ending anytime soon. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And the fact that his first ability boosts each one by +1 if they're defending with attack action cards, which most decks are using, it's pretty nuts because like they can inadvertently just turn on his attack reaction ability even if it wasn't a boosted attack because his effect boosted it because they blocked with an attack action. So I think his both of his abilities are insanely strong.
Yeah.
My only, like, a lot of people are high on him and I think he's really good. Like Rob said, people are thinking he just replaces Dorinthia as the better warrior. One thing I do think about just the light mechanic in general, or him, I think you can't play too many turns with low cards in hand. Like, I might be wrong about that, but I think he requires like a lot of cards because like the charge mechanic, -1 from your hand to put it onto your hero, which is just a card you can't play with anymore. I mean, it turns on other abilities, but you're not getting any value outside of that. You have to pitch for your attacks or your reactions or whatever you're playing. You have to play attack action cards that you're putting them under the hero soul. I think we're going to look at some, but I think he requires like 3, 4, 5 card hands, 4 cards arsenal, stuff like that. So I don't know if he's better than Dorinthia per se, just because Dorinthia with 2 cards, like you pitch, swing with Dawnblade, like you can threaten a route, anything from hand that they're not singing Steelblade. So I think there's that give and take of like, he's a great warrior, but also I think there's going to be that balance mechanic as people start building this deck of like, oh wait, like I can't do all the things I thought I could because I only have 3 cards right now. So
Right.
Yeah, I think it's also pretty interesting too because specifically about the charge mechanic is that we haven't really seen an excess of cards that specifically let you charge your soul, right? We've only seen really like a handful, and so it really kind of leads into that play style for warrior of kind of biding your time and waiting to strike at the right time for warrior, and it'll be really interesting to see people. Like personally, I can't wait to watch Rob play Bolton, because as somebody who has played Dorinthia for so long, and to change up the playstyle and see what nuances that he can find in this new class, it will be very, very interesting. I think that the concept of charging and like kind of biding your time so that you can strike at the right moment is going to be so much more important than it ever is before, because as great as Soul is as an extra mechanic and a resource, it is definitely something that you really have to be planning for 2-3 turns in advance, because you can't, it is a resource and it's very limited based on how much you can actually charge. And then on top of that, if you're playing against a shadow hero, that's a whole nother layer because they can be ripping things out of your soul at the same time. And so it's, he's such an interesting class, and I'm super excited for him, for sure.
I was gonna say, one of the things as a future Shadow player myself, I can definitely say that one generic that if it hits banishes a card from their soul is something I'll be playing at both red and yellow value if I can, because I don't need this guy getting go again like 6 times in a single turn.
Yeah,
it's too painful, man.
Yeah. All right. So I do want to bring up his Majestic, and then we have a special surprise that just got spoiled that we'll, in the middle of the episode, we'll bring it up right after this because I know Nick's going to be really excited about it. So, yeah, there it is. All right. So I'm going to make you wait because we are on Warriors. So we're just going to talk about his Majestic real quick. So it is Lumina Ascension, a Bolton specialization. It pitches for 2 and costs 0. It reads... Bolton specialization. Until end of turn, weapons you control gain +1 attack, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero's soul and gain 1 life. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck. If you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control. Go again. This card's
nuts.
really good. This card's really good.
Card's nuts.
So
yeah.
good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, one thing too that we've seen, at least from Bolton, the shadow specializations we've seen are legendary, both Shadow Brooch and Shadow Runeblade. But both of Bolton's are 3Fs. So just busted cards, you can play 3Fs.
Sounds like a salty shadow player to me.
Shadow nerds.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, technically there's still a Majestic, at least from Brute, that hasn't been revealed, but given that Chain's all been revealed for his Majestics, I guess that means that there's no specialization that's not legendary specialization specifically, so I guess we'll just have to see. But yeah, I like the artwork at least. I think it's pretty damn awesome how he's just an absolute what's it called? The absolute energy he has behind that sword for what he's about to do.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we are going to jump around a little bit. We'll come back to Warrior towards the end of the episode, but we have to talk about this weapon. So the Illusionist weapon just got spoiled. Happened.
Man.
Like as we're talking, as you can see everyone's reaction now. It's pretty awesome. So this is like real time reaction. So it is Iris of Reality. It is a two-handed orb illusionist weapon. It reads, during your action phase, illusionist auras you control are weapons with 4 attack and once per turn action, pay 3, attack, go again.
Oh
Sick.
my! The artwork, first of all, the artwork is
so good.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh
Beautiful.
my!
Sick.
And the fact that you don't have to do anything for this ability, like
Right.
it's there. You don't pay anything for it. It just is on.
And you know what's crazy? You can pay 1 on your opponent's turn, make the token, like after their turn's over, so you know it's gonna live. Then pay the 2 on your turn to get another token, and then so now you have 2 tokens with 4 attack and go again. It's so insane.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
so
nuts.
you're always guaranteed, so long as you have blue pitches right after, to just at least attack twice in a disjointed damage right there.
For 8 damage with go again after the
With
second
go
one too,
again.
which you can do anything after that go again.
It's
Then you
oh my
play
God.
then you play Glisten, and then you make them you make those 2
Dude.
tokens
Oh
actually
my god,
six-
and they
sixes.
last.
They
2
last.
sixes.
Oh my god.
In the next turn, there's 6s. Oh my gosh, you're right. I love this class. Okay, yeah.
I guess the thing
Yeah.
that's interesting though is that if you
Get hit.
get hit,
Mhm.
You get hit,
They're
they
gone.
die.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
get hit, you lose them, and they're gone with the counters as well, so...
Yeah, but
Yeah,
even
so
that
it's
one
just-
turn with 4 attack extra is
oh,
so
yeah.
good.
It's
That is pretty
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, and the artwork on this card, and this is just the common.
Oh, that's right. This
I'm-
is just the
This is
token.
just the
We have a
token.
majestic
So,
at some point.
Like this is already crazy enough as it is. It's just the token. I am very excited to see what her majestic weapon is because
Well,
this
so...
is crazy.
I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble here, but I don't know if she's even going to get a Majestic, because the Majestics for the other characters are because they have a token common alternative for their class already, whether it's like the Romping Club for Brute in general or the Nebula Blade for Rune Blade. This is a whole new class, so of course they had to have a default weapon, but whether or not they'll actually get like a new weapon or an extra weapon on top of this, I mean, I'll
I would-
definitely be excited to see it if they do, but I don't know if they're going to.
I would
I
be
would almost bet
very
that they would.
surprised if
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, because if you also look on the actual website for the booster gallery, she has kind of like we were talking about this as earlier, like before the podcast, is that AJ brought up that she has so many extra spots in her section, and it's because that AJ speculated it's probably like a brand new class, and like look, it is, and so there probably is definitely room for like a majestic, and oh my god, this is a cold foil, just this
Yes.
like commented. Oh my god,
It's gonna look
this
great.
card is
I can't wait.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can't
What's
wait.
awesome about this interaction with Glisten too is like if you attack with that first token and they block with like 1 or 2 cards, you don't have to Glisten that one because it's an instant. So if they don't block that one, then you can Glisten during the reactions phase. Then it's an 8 attack right away if you want to put all 4 on this one that you're attacking with. Or you can then, if they overblock the first one, then just put them all on the second one or something. Like, I think this is so good.
It also says illusionist auras. Like doesn't
Which means
specifically
there could be
mention the
more.
one. So
She
like
has
there could be a
different-
chance that there's like
she has
other
to have
yeah.
different ones. There's no
Yeah.
way that they're gonna give an illusionist one thing.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch. It's gonna be like in Stevenkin, he knows all about auras playing Bravo. You know, this is blessing of deliverance. You get to turn blessing or like
Oh my
showtime
God.
into a weapon. You know what I mean? This could get really crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. This is Oh my god,
This is so fun. This is
This
so
is
fun.
great.
I love it.
this is absolutely insane.
Like props to LSS for being able to like actually put in an illusionist effectively into the game that feels like an illusionist.
Yeah,
That's
already.
That's so awesome. Yeah,
And all
already.
we have is a hero and a token and a weapon.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we have a whole set of cards to go through eventually.
Yeah,
so
I
much
know.
to
Like we
speculate,
don't
so
even
much to
have
look forward
any action cards whatsoever. Like we have nothing for her.
Can I also say, good job on anyone who's had spoilers related to this? Like, this did not leak at all. Like, we just
Yeah.
got that. Like, we had to wait for everything. So,
That's pretty good.
I can't wait for her defense reactions because she
Sure.
has to have them.
Yep. You don't want your
those would
horse
be-
to pop. Yeah.
there's been very
So
few defense
interesting.
reactions in this whole set. There's like the
Yeah.
one, like Rise Above, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
there
think
has.
like as an illusionist, she has to have some like pretty cool defense.
What if she has like a
reactions.
reflected defense reaction? Like a
That's what I was
bounce-
saying. That's what I was saying
Yeah,
earlier. That would be
yeah.
so interesting.
Magical.
I mean,
cylinder.
that's why I was saying Rip Guardian if that's the case, because they only
I
get
know.
usually only get one big action per turn. So if there's something that reflects that in some way, like that's
It would probably have a cap, like reflect target attack with 4 or less attack or something. Because yeah,
Or
it'd be
maybe
kind
yeah,
of
something
absurd
like
to
that.
have
That'd
a
be
cap.
that'd be a little busted if poor Steven tried to crippling crush and he gets it thrown back at him somehow.
Oh, that would be nuts. That'd have to be like the specialization,
That'd be
right?
disgusting. Guardian instantly deleted as a class from the game.
I mean, they've between this hero and the warrior boots, which we haven't gotten to yet. I think they've already
Ugh.
deleted ninja. So
Yeah.
Please don't remind me of those warrior boots, man. Ugh.
Oh well, we're gonna talk about them. So
No, not that good.
Oh,
No.
here we go.
all right, here we go. I see
Not that
Rob
good.
light up. Let's go. All
They're
right,
good in
so
Bolton, but
let's talk about these legendary leg equipments. All right, so warrior equipment legs, legendary. The name is Valiant Dynamo. They read, at the beginning of your end phase, if you have attacked 2 or more times with weapons this turn, you may remove a -1 defense counter from Valiant Dynamo, battle worn, of course, for -1. And it starts with 1 defense. So basically, you block with it, you lose the 1, and then if you attack twice with weapons, then you get the 1 back infinitely, as much as you can do that. So I think this is very, very, very strong.
Yeah, it can't be overstated how good it is to get free blocks from a card not from hand every single turn. This can save you 6, 8, 12 damage over the course of a constructed game, which is just so much value from one piece of equipment that isn't breaking. It's
Or if we're talking about Blitz, for example, every bonus damage that Ira gets a turn just gets instantly blocked by this thing. You could throw it out any time, even when they want to command and conquer or some other thing for like 7. You always, so long as you attack twice on your turn with weapons, which Warrior already wants to do, you keep getting that 1 back. Like, it's so crazy.
I want
I
to
don't
hear
know
the
if you guys-
warrior talk about
Yeah.
it real quick. I want to, Rob. What do you think of this? I know you kind of been high and low on it, so I'm really curious what's your take.
yeah, I think it's great in a deck like Bolton where you have 2 weapons and you're gonna swing those 2 weapons all the time. And in Dorinthia, you're talking about replacing refraction bolters, which is like a staple of the deck.
Mhm.
I mean, just being able to threaten go again all game. There's many turns where you don't have glint, or your opponent doesn't block from hand to turn Singing Steelblade on to go get glint, or do you want to just waste glint and not get its reprise effect, or you don't have Warrior's Valor to play in front of it, where you just don't have go again, and just the threat of having go again from the boots is sometimes enough to command a 2-card block, from
Yeah.
the other player in front of Dorinthia. So I know, like, just playing against Warrior, a lot is taken off your shoulders or whatnot when the boots are gone, because it's you just don't have to worry about them anymore. And then you put them on, they have to have a card in hand that would give them go again, whether that be Glint or Spoils of War, Warrior's Valor. Those are, I would say, the most common ones played. But I do think that the one defense every turn is really good, and that's also if it's 2 different decks to me, because Dorinthia, you have to have go again to swing it again. So if you can't swing your weapon every turn twice, usually the first attack gets blocked, and if it doesn't, you're threatening in, some damage there. But say you can block with it maybe half of the game. I think it's really strong. But I personally just don't think it replaces Refraction Bolters and Dorinthia, unless Dorinthia went to like a more control-y style build, maybe with like Tunic and a bunch of Steel Blade shunts and defense reactions, things of that nature, where you're just like arsenaling a defense reaction. You're blocking with that one boot every turn if you can, get go again on the weapon. But I think it's going to see more play in Bolton and maybe even Kasai.
Well, can I actually say something? This is something that I didn't read it closely enough, but like Bolton's like at least like his majestic weapon, like his weapon, is actually the sword that technically only says attacks once per turn, and he doesn't have a way, unless I missed something, to give it go again on outside of like Twinning Blade or something. So unless he switches to using the axes,
the Lumina Ascension is one way.
Yeah. Illumina
okay.
Ascension or Dust Path Pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Or Twinning Blade.
That's right. So he does have a few ways, but it's not the same thing as like having two weapons to swing with separately, which are the axes, which are the generic weapon. But if Bolton wants to use the his main weapon,
Raiden,
then he needs one of those specific cards.
Raiden's coming up next.
What was it called? Oh, Raiden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he wants to get the boots to activate, he needs to have one of those specific cards, or like Twinning Blade, to even strike twice with the same weapon. Now, granted, if he gets the weapon gets to attack more than once per turn, it's free once he's charged. So it's not hard after that. Yeah. But I don't think it synergizes as well as I first thought with Bolton, as much as it does with like Kasai, for example, who likes using the two-handed weapons. Or if you decide to use a two separate weapons with Bolton.
Or do you play sabers on Bolton?
I feel like the axes are better than sabers, honestly. There might be something in them that I'm missing, but I think the guaranteed +1, even if the opponent doesn't defend, like Kasai's, what are they called? How do you pronounce it?
Centauri Sabers.
Centauri Sabers, there they go.
Yeah.
Where it only gets the +1 if they're defended, which most attack actions defend for 3 anyway, so it doesn't matter. I just find the axes to be a little stronger than them.
Yeah, we also can't overstate the value of that other Majestic that was revealed that gives your axes +2 and Dominate. I believe that's the wording on that card.
Pretty good.
That's pretty crazy.
Sorry.
Dominate for the axes is kind of crazy.
Yep.
And it almost brings up the question, like, do you even use this Majestic sword? Do you stick with the axes? Because I almost feel like the axes are maybe slightly better than his Majestic. I don't know. I don't play Warrior in general, so like from like an outside view, I feel like the cards and kind of like even with his legendary, like the shoes at least, it almost synergizes more with the axes than it does with his Majestic weapon,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, is like the fact that you can only attack once per turn without a specific card giving it the attack again, the axes, at least so long as you have go again, can be swung with twice whether or not they hit, which is a lot easier in Warrior than the attack with the same weapon twice.
And I'm sure everyone who's watching or listening to this knows I won a skirmish event with Kasai. Obviously, massive news. You can read about it in most any newspaper on the world. So
go.
I played Kasai a ton in multiple events. Ended up winning one, and you do basically attack with 2 swords every turn. So in Kasai, this is nuts because free health countering and blitz cannot be overstated. 20 health pool, this stopping 1 damage basically every turn. Very good. And Kasai is always going to be attacking with 2 weapons. I think Kasai with the axes is actually going to be pretty nuts as well because of that thing that can give them Dominate and +2.
Yeah.
So I think Kasai gets a huge boost from the cards in the set, which I'm very happy about. I think the boost,
Kasai's a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of happy about that too, because like as far as Warrior goes, I always liked Kasai's design, but it was kind of sad that Dorinthia, even in Blitz, kind of took over as the main Warrior at the time. So I'd be happy to see how the meta changes for Blitz, if for no other reason than seeing how well Kasai does in the future.
Yeah.
I won't play her, but
Are we going to see Dorinthia with axes anytime soon?
Barbarian Dorinthia, just like axes.
I
All
think
right.
you get to attack 3 times maybe if you give have 3 separate go agains, because at least her ability lets her attack 1 more time with one of the axes.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's so good. Real quick, we brought up Raiden, the sword. I kind of want to talk about that for just a minute and actually like read it off, because I think it's actually like one of the most interesting weapons I've ever seen. Just because you'll see in a second. So Raiden Duskbane, it's a light warrior weapon, 2-handed sword. Once per turn action for 0 attack. If you have charged this turn, Raiden gains +3. The crazy thing is its base attack is 0. So you do have to charge to even like do anything with this weapon, but it does attack for free, which is pretty good. Like really, really good.
Yeah, this card, I mean, I don't know if this will ever be a play that happens, but you can just start your turn, 4 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal or whatever, and just say, swing with weapon. You don't have to pitch anything. And so they're like, do I block here? Like, what? This is 0 damage. Like, what do I do? And then you go to attack reactions and you do like Razor Reflex, Out for Blood or whatever. Then since it's boosted its own attack, Bolton can then give it go again if you have cards in your
So good.
in your soul. So it's just like, it's so crazy, like the mind games you could play with just the fact that you pitch nothing, you commit nothing to just attacking with this card. I love it.
That's hilarious, actually.
I think it's also interesting too, though, because so much of his mechanics kind of revolve around. I mean, obviously, right? It revolves around like the charging, and this definitely seems like the last thing you do in a chain / in your turn. You know, like you do everything else, and then you finish it off with your like remaining go again. Because here's the thing: you don't have to pay for it; it's free. So you can do all these other actions with go again, and because of his ability, and you can banish things from your soul as you're charging them, and then your final hit can be with Raiden, just attack for 3 for free, and you don't have to have any cards in hand. You don't have to do anything. You can just smack someone and just be done with your turn, which is kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think you might try to attack with it multiple times because of Lumina Ascension. Until end of turn, weapons you control get +1. If it hits, reveal the top card. If it's light, put in your soul, gain a health. I know we already talked about that card, but I do think like that in tandem with this card is pretty crazy, because if you can charge that turn, get a card under, then you swing with this, or you play Lumina Ascension, you get so much value for a cost 0 action. Like you're giving +1, so free damage. You get put stuff in your soul, which is not technically charging, but still stuff in your soul. You heal a life, and then if you've charged, you can attack an additional time with each weapon you control. So there's the additional attack we were talking about earlier. There's additional damage, and then there's also getting stuff in your soul. Like a card that costs 0 that does that is crazy. So I think that in tandem with the weapon could be pretty nuts.
And the most insane part of that is that it still pitches for 2.
Yep.
Which is
Oh, it's so good.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
All right.
And the
so,
+1 turns on his ability as well. The go again.
That's the thing about Bolton too, is that especially with the light, and well, like I mean, really with both classes, like all the classes in this set, is that there's so much that you have to think about from an interaction standpoint now.
Yep.
And I guess people would say that about the old set, but like it's new, it's fresh, but like it's gonna take a little bit for people to realize like, oh, I can do X, Y, and Z because this technically triggers this, and just kind of like learning how all of these cards and skills interact with their abilities is going to be so interesting. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
There's one more warrior card I want to talk about as we start to kind of wrap this up, and it's V of the Vanguard, because it's another Bolton specialization. We've talked a lot about charge, and we haven't really seen a lot of cards tonight that do that. So I'll read off this card real quick and then we'll talk about it. So V of the Vanguard, it's a yellow pitch, so pitches for 2, costs 1. It's a light warrior action attack, attacks for 3, defends for 3. It reads Bolton specialization, and then as an additional cost to play via the Vanguard, you may charge your hero's soul any number of times, which means put 1 or more cards from your hand face up under your hero card. Attacks you control on this combat chain gain +1 for each light card charged this way.
Nuts.
So, yeah.
It turns on everything. It turns on all of Bolton.
It's the full cycle. I would assume, maybe not, but it's a rare, right?
I think there's only one because it's a specialization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I mentioned earlier, charge being kind of like that balancing mechanic for how good I think Light Warrior is. Like you are minusing from your hand,
Yeah.
but you can do it any number of times, which are cards you can use. Charging turns on things like his ability, Bolton's ability, and it boosts itself too. So last line
Yes.
attack you control, get +1 for each light card charged this way. So if you even do 1, this is now a 4 attack. Bolton's ability is now alive to give it go again if you wanted to, which you probably do, because you can just banish one of the cards you charge to then give this go again. So you've already set that up. And you're then, again, like Steven said, you have these things to think about, right? This card does multiple things that you're wanting to do in a turn. Charging, boosting your attacks for this turn, turning on Bolton's ability. So yeah, this card is very good.
Well, and like something else that I thought about too is that like it would be really interesting for like if you played like Plunder Run with it.
My favorite
Oh,
card.
wow.
The thing
Oh my
about Plunder
God.
Run is that you
So
draw
good.
off of if it hits. And so then you just have like you're like, okay, cool, like I have more cards just to do whatever I want with. Attack reactions that already exist for Warrior, like Stroke of Foresight, would be very interesting to play as far as like this class is concerned, and like the whole like soul mechanic is so I want to say that it's broken, but I feel like there's a balance to it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
guess
you're
we'll
minusing your
see.
hands so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. Yeah.
the one thing that's
So-
good about this card, or crazy about this too, is like it charges and then it also pluses itself. So it turns on Bolton himself like on its own. So you can just charge 1 if you want to, make it a 4, then like activate Bolton's reaction, get rid of the card you just charged, and now it has go again.
And
Like,
your
that's-
sword is 3. Your sword is now 3.
Yeah, your sword is 3 as well, and so you can give it go again. So you're gonna do 4 and 3, guaranteed at least with just this card and one.
Well,
card
then it
in hand.
might be 5 if they defend with an attack action because of his ability.
Oh yeah,
you would
so
charge.
good.
So,
So
like, least turn you could do is 2 cards in hand, tune it counter up, play via the Vanguard, charge the other card in your hand, then Bolton ability, give this go again. It's a 4 or 5, then swing with weapon for 3. With 2 cards, you did 7 damage.
and that's saying that you don't have anything else that's giving you more cards. So like if
Right.
you did a Plunder Run, that means you could put 2 cards underneath. If you like did an attack reaction with Stroke of Foresight, you could like get another card that you could do something with if it's an attack. It's absolutely insane how
Real-
crazy this.
Real
class
quick,
is.
I just want to also add, we've been saying it, the weapon would be 3. This says attacks, not just attack action cards, so it increases the sword too.
Yeah,
Wow.
it would be.
4, so 8 damage that turn. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If
Like-
they end wow.
Man.
Warrior
And you don't
cards are
need to
good.
play-
I think this is a good setup card. Like you charge up, you get your turn ready to go, and then you end on this.
Yeah.
Minimum of what, 4?
Yeah,
Right?
this-
If you
this-
charge 1, it gets the +1. Unless I'm reading it wrong, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
no, you're
No,
right.
you're right.
It's a good setup turn. Like just to threaten some damage, charge up. Next turn, you got a bunch of cards in soul ready to cataclysmic strike or whatever it is.
Cataclysmic. Oh, that's right. You could just go put all 3
oh,
in
yeah.
there and just go cataclysmic strike.
Boom.
And
Crush.
then the cataclysmic. Hold on, this gets even more insane.
That's
'cause
the
then,
Celestial Cataclysm.
or
right?
sorry,
Like-
yeah, sorry. Celestial Cataclysm would get +3 from this card's effect.
Oh, you're right.
Go again.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Then you've attacked with this card for +3. Then Celestial Cataclysm for +3, and then now you still have the sword if you have no more cards left in your hand for another +3. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a crazy
Oh my
turn.
God.
That's 6. That's 16. That's 22 damage. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
See,
you play
thi-
this off
see-
a tuna counter,
Yeah.
Oh
See,
my
this is why they
goodness.
had to limit. This is why they had to limit Soul Harvest to 1, because they knew that all the light players would be salty if they kept having their entire soul banished.
Yeah. If a warrior player is playing against me and they have 4 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, and they start their turn with this card, I am immediately just like, oh,
Oh,
shoot.
This is definitely like this is his Steel Blade supremacy.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
like
probably.
Lumina Ascension is very interesting and it like does, but this is the turn that can kill you
It's a
for
good,
sure. Like this card alone can just blow you up so fast.
Yeah.
Like especially in Blitz. Can you imagine this card in Blitz? Like,
Oh, just that turn we talked about in Blitz is insane.
right? Like you'd be done. You'd be done. Like
you just have the tempo, so you just win at that point because it's so much.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Uh,
All right. Well, that's a lot of warrior for tonight. But one last card. We just had spoiled again. So wonders of spoiler season. We get to talk about cards like as they happen. So we're gonna bounce one more time back to Illusionist, and we have an Illusionist instant. It is a rare, so I'm assuming this cycles, but we have the red version. So it's a 3-cost Illusionist instant. It is Prismatic Shield. It reads, create 3 spectral shield tokens, which are the tokens that we had before, as an instant.
Crazy.
So good.
I love this deck so much.
I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it.
I think you are having to play a lot of blues, similar to Kano, which is
Very
interesting.
similar.
Because this costs 3 to attack with the weapons, that costs 3. But like, this is so scary. If they have multiple blues in hand and they have all of these tokens, like, you can just swing 4 multiple times. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. And then it stays on the field
Yeah, you still have the
indefinitely
token.
until you would take damage, yeah.
They're just blocking damage too if they break. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. It literally is something you can use as an attack on your turn, but that can at least bleed over into some defense on your opponent's turn. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting too, though, because like cards like Glisten, right? They affect specific tokens. So I think this might be one of those scenarios where you might actually need to bring multiple tokens just in case, right? Because like this isn't one of those like a rune chant where you can put a dice
just
on a
put
token.
the rune blade die, yeah.
Right, like this is a lot different because
Wait,
it's...
why?
Well, because you have, if with Glisten you have counters on separate tokens.
I guess.
Yeah. So if you put counters on something like
counters on
especially
counters.
like how many like how many spectral shield tokens are you going to keep up on your field, right? Like this alone as an instant puts up 3.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, like which one of these is going to have the +1 token? How are you going to keep track of that? This might be a lot easier just to bring like multiple tokens, which
It's also interesting. Like we just brought up the attack thing, but like this is basically a defense reaction that doesn't turn on reprise. Like if you think of it that way too, it's an instant, it creates tokens. You're not blocking from hand.
Yeah.
You're just creating tokens that block damage. It's so good.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and you would need individual tokens too because you have to show which ones you're attacking with when you do attack with them. So I can't wait to have like my hero in the middle and then just tokens
Just tokens like circle it around.
There you go.
Yeah,
I actually recently played against a Runeblade who used individual tokens for rune chants.
Let's go.
It was the most bizarre experience I've ever had because I'm so used to like people having a dice that he was just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he there was at one point where he just had like a stack of 12 rune chants that he was like hitting me with, and I was just like, just use a dice.
Yeah, it's hard at a glance to like see, right? So.
Right, because it's just a stack of cards. I was like, what am I saying? And it's over webcam.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
The first thing I did when I started playing Runeblade back in the day was I got a D20 or spin down just to make sure I had something that could count at least as high as possible on a dice right now. Well, no, actually, no. I guess there's technically D100s, maybe. Is there actually a D1? Does D100 actually exist, or did the binding guys apply to me?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, getting back to my point. I got a spin down specifically so it'd be easier to track. Like, it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
I can't believe I feel like he's just trolling at that point.
We've seen a lot of stuff in this set, like Dusk Path Pilgrimage, that kind of mirrors old cards. So I do wonder if we'll have a card like Mordred Tide. Whenever you create a token, you create an additional one or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm just casually checking
wow.
Aetherize's prices right now.
What? Aetherize? Is that a
It's an instant. It's an instant.
Oh, it is an instant. Oh, my.
It is
Yeah,
an
but it costs
instant.
3. It costs 3.
Yeah, so you pay 1 to counter it instantly.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Aetherize doesn't work on.
Oh,
cards.
that's right.
Yeah.
It has a cost. It has a cost specification. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Top list instant, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait. If they do
They
Aetherize red, then
protected-
it could be 3.
They protected Illusionist ahead of time. They're like, we're gonna let her.
We're gonna let her do
Everyone-
everything.
Everyone's to sell out your Aetherizes. They're useless now. They only work against Doomsday and what's it called?
Eclipse.
What was Eclipse? And no one's getting that out.
Can I just say I'm excited for pre-release so much more than I
so
was like an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped.
Yeah, looking at a sealed pool and being like, oh, I get to play Illusionist for the first time in my life. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be so exciting.
It's gonna be so weird. Can you imagine?
Speaking
It's
of-
just like,
Yeah. What do I do now?
Yeah, right.
Speaking of instance, I think I need to make sure I at least play one Remembrance in each of my Shadow Brood decks, just to make sure I can get back that Soul Harvest for when I need it. That card is
Oh yeah.
absolutely nuts against light heroes now that we know how the mechanic works,
Yeah.
which is why they limited it to 1.
Yeah, anything that attacks soul is actually gonna be really devastating. Like I think even losing one card in your soul can actually probably really hurt. Looking at it now.
Because if
Soul
you're setting
Harvest,
your turn-
but if they get hit by 1 with Soul Harvest, it takes all the charged cards out of their soul.
Yeah, that's
All of them.
and they take damage for each one that's banished. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
man.
That's why they had to nerf it to make it fair, give them a chance.
I cannot wait to see all the more Illusionist cards. Like so far, we've seen a token weapon, a rare, and the hero.
Yeah, so much more
that.
left to go. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just the rare, not even one of the Majestics so far. And you know the Majestics are the real game changers for a class, which is why they're limited to 1 color set. So.
And her specializations, whatever those are.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and the specializations.
I can't
too.
wait for the equipment, to be honest. That's what I'm like, because the specializations will be interesting, but like the equipment is something that kind of really makes or breaks a hero. You
It's
know,
not that
like what would Dorinthia be without, her refraction bolters, like Rob was talking about. Like it adds a whole different layer
Yeah.
of pressure. It adds a whole different layer of like gameplay and things that you kind of like. For example, like Guardian too, like it is very clunky to play Guardian without tectonic plating.
Yeah.
Ninja without mask. Like all of these classes have equipment that really kind of define the class and the mechanics that
That's a
they
really good
have.
point.
And so like
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not just about the pressure they give, it's about defining how the class plays, because the equipments are integral to how the class plays, or they're designed in a way to help facilitate them, especially with the legendary equipment that, plays into some mechanic that they benefit from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do assume she'll get a legendary equipment because we still have 2 spots left, and I doubt they would release a new class without giving him a legendary.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think it does?
Maybe the second time you create like a one of those tokens, you can pay just 1 to use her ability again after you do something. I don't know, something like that. Kind of like how Refraction Bolters gives a bonus to the second time you do a sword attack.
the third time one of your shield tokens hits, draw a card.
Yeah.
No,
You're nuts.
absolutely not. Let's just combine like warrior, ninja, and wizard together into one ridiculous class.
Get out.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I do wonder if it'll help her pay for stuff, because to swing you are having to spend 3 every time, so I don't know if it maybe reduces the cost of something to swing, because paying 3, like I doubt there's many turns you can swing more than twice with
You know,
Maybe
this is a
it'll double the amount of tokens that you create.
Oh my god.
You know what? This is a prediction. This is a prediction to one of her either Majestics or even a specialization. I bet that there's a specialization that once activated says that for each token that you have active this turn, your attacks with your with the weapons cost 1 less. Can you imagine?
Ooh,
If you have
okay,
one, no, that'd
Yeah.
snowball real hard. It's like if you
Yeah.
have 4 tokens, then all of your attacks are free with all 4 of them.
Oof.
That'd be nuts.
I mean, I could see something that reduces each one by 1, so you're pitching 2 for each time. Like that
Yeah.
saves you a lot. So that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
That would be. I could see that. That's definitely one of her Majestics or even a specialization. It has to do with reducing the cost of the attacks, given some sort of condition. Usually, probably based on how many you already have out or something.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can guess at right now.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I think we're going to wrap it up here. We went through a lot today. I mean, we had Illusionist, we had Warrior, we had all kinds of great stuff. And I really want to thank all of you guys for joining me today, especially Rob and Nick from Tolarian Dropouts. You guys were coming in clutch joining me today. I hope to have you guys on the podcast a lot more in the future. And I'm really excited to start having you guys featured in a lot of different ways. And check out Rob's channel, Tolarian Dropouts on YouTube. He just posted a video today, which is fire. It's so good. I just really appreciate you guys joining me.
Yeah, man, you were in it.
Yeah, I am. I am in
AJ
it.
was in it, dude.
I'm
Yeah, man.
So we'll just go around and tell us what you guys are doing again and what you guys got going on and what you guys are looking forward to. Ryan, we'll start with you.
Well, I can definitely say that for a good portion of this podcast talking about these abilities, like I said, as a future Shadow player, even given the new drop that we had tonight, I've done nothing but think about all the ways I can ruin a light player's day with all these new card reveals.
Nice.
And I can tell you one thing, I look forward to every bit or every little annoyance I can throw their way when we start playing against each other in Constructed. That's all I can say I can look forward to, but you know, especially with the pre-releases coming up, I'm definitely hyped for those to see what we get and, you know, see what we can make of whatever cards haven't been revealed yet.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited for pre-release as well, man. I mean, I think that's going to be a great time. I mean, I know from a player aspect, all the players are definitely itching to get their hands on these cards and tear the packs open, see all the cards, you know, see deck building possibilities, and then you know, being able to play the excellent formats of draft and sealed with them. You know, we've been having the same 8 heroes, you know, like you guys have mentioned, for quite a bit, you know. So it'll be nice to get some fresh air with Monarch.
Let's go. Steve,
Yeah,
what you
for
got
sure.
going?
I'm pretty much looking forward to pre-release too. I think something that we haven't talked about as much or like kind of thought about is that we haven't really seen too many generics. You
Not a
know,
lot, yeah.
and
No.
a lot of the classes who, you know, didn't get special treatment this time around as far as like the like set goes, that doesn't mean that you can't add generics in. There have been some pretty interesting ones that have been revealed, so I'm excited to see all the other generics that come out and kind of thinking about how they affect the classes that already exist at this point in time. So I'm definitely keeping my eye out for those. And I'm honestly still trying to decide whether I'm going to join the light or the darkness. So I guess we will find out soon.
Steven, no!
Steven's going Runeblade. I feel it. I feel it so much.
No!
The regular room blade.
No,
That's gonna
Shadow
be a big
Runeblade. He's
surprise.
playing Chang.
No, Shadow all the way if I do
Chang.
that for sure.
Oh, there we go.
Nick, what
Yo,
you got
Memorial.
going
Yo, speaking of which, Memorial Ground for Rangers. Let's go.
on? Oh my goodness. Nick, what you got going on?
Yeah, I'm just super high on Monarch. Like, I'm so excited for the set in general. Just Illusionist was like the cherry on top for me, just getting this whole new thing that's so new. I also think I'm really thankful that I think most of us have a good amount of product to open on release. So I think you're gonna do an opening, right, AJ?
Oh yeah, we're doing a huge opening. Hopefully have everyone in our community, or like in our little group, who's willing to open their first edition product. We're just gonna rip all. I know I'm ripping every box I get open. So.
Every box, baby. I don't have too much coming anyway, but I can tell you, I'm ready to rip them open right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's gonna be a fun time, and I'm super excited for Chain and Illusionist. Those are the ones I'm gonna just try to. I think Chain, just the cost-benefit analysis of like, do I create this Soul Shackle token that then is like also sort of helping me in future turns, but then like I take too much blood debt, I die. So like I love that kind of play style. It seems really strong. It seems really strong how many things you can do in a turn. I'm interested in the ally mechanic, although a lot of people think they're not as good as they hoped. I still really like it. I'm excited
really cool.
to try it out. Yeah, I think it's a cool mechanic in general. Also, the repercussions of what that means for future sets, future allies. And then Illusionist, so new, so different. Seeing how that deck plays, like how, you know, what generics mix well with that deck. You know, like in Ninja, Snatch is a super good card as your third chain link, or because you could Razor it, draw 2 cards, stuff like that. I think there's going to be like generics that work well in there, the back alley break line of Dash, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see those interactions and just how the deck plays. Like even with just what we've seen so far, it's so different. It's so cool. So yeah, Monarch's going to be a ton of fun to play with.
Love it. All right, this has been AJ with the Adventure Pod podcast, and I want to thank Tolarian Dropouts one more time for you guys joining me today, and of course thank you to Ryan and Steven, the Adventure Company crew, and we're excited for Monarch pre-release and Monarch release, and it's going to be a fun time, and all these classes have been really fun to share with you guys, and thanks for checking us out. Check out Rob's channel, Tolarian Dropouts, on YouTube again, and let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.